Do you know what factors led to this accident? What went wrong? Who was at fault? You'll find the answers to these questions in Module 3 of this program.
I'm happy to tell you that such an incident has never occurred at the Diavik site, but scenes just like that have happened, for real, at other mines.
Extremely serious injuries, even death, have resulted. What chance would anyone have under a 240-ton haul truck? This scene was staged to illustrate what can happen when drivers fail to follow procedure and are unaware or unconcerned about what is going on around them.
A driver's license doesn't teach you that, and that's why a license is not required to drive on site. What you do need is a Diavik driver's permit. Sure, previous driving experience is an advantage because for the most part, the same rules apply when driving on a public street as when driving on mine property. But a Diavik driver's permit covers a whole lot more.
Things you will learn include winter driving, night driving, pre-trip inspections, defensive driving, skid control, parking procedures, and lots more. This program will give you the information you need to pass the tests as we go along.
If you don't have a valid driver's license, you'll have to take a practical test, just as you would for a government license.
Finally, you'll need your supervisor's approval to get a Diavik driver's permit. Everyone who drives on site must carry a valid permit with them. There are 3 classes of permit. These don't refer to classes of vehicle, but to areas where you're allowed to drive on site.
These permits are for light vehicles only and don't qualify anyone to operate or drive any kind of heavy equipment.
For each of these, you must be trained on the specific piece of equipment and be certified and authorized before you can operate it.
But this program is concerned with light vehicle driver training. You'll need to become familiar with the signs that we have on site, all the rules that you're expected to follow, and safe driving practices. So let's get started.
Before you drive, take a walk. Always walk around your vehicle and conduct a thorough inspection inside and out to make sure it's safe to drive. The Northwest Territories mine regulations require daily written documentation of this check. In particular, there is a procedure for testing brakes.
In this module, we'll show you the complete testing routine. Perhaps most important of all are driver skills and attitudes. You need to pay attention, have good judgment, good reflexes, and goodwill towards other drivers and heavy equipment operators. To help you develop a high level of skill in these areas, we'll teach you the basic defensive driving techniques that we expect here on site. Vehicle inspections are normally done at the beginning of each shift. You might not need to drive your vehicle until later on in the shift. What's important is that you do a complete vehicle inspection before you drive.
The simplest way, and perhaps the best, is to follow the checklist you need to complete and check each item off as you go. With experience, you'll get to know the procedure off by heart, but it's important that no item be missed. Let's follow the recommended routine. First, turn on all lights and flashers. Then make sure the vehicle is secure by checking that the park brake is set, wheel chocks are in place, and pocket the ignition key. In winter, don't set the park brake. It can freeze up. Now begin your walk around, starting with the front left tire. Check for tire wear, cuts, or other damage. The lug nut should be tight and the valve stem secure. Then check the suspension and that the brake line is undamaged and not leaking. Now move to the front of the vehicle. Check lights and flashers, as well as the beacon. Look under the engine for leaks and inspect the front for any damage. Then raise the hood. Check all fluid levels. That includes engine oil and coolant, brake fluid, transmission level, radiator and overflow reservoir, and washer fluid. We use a lot of that on site. Then check the battery terminals for corrosion and to make sure the posts are tight. Check the fan belt for cracks and correct tension. Check air filter dust indicator and note its condition and cleanliness. Now continue on to right front, checking tire as before. Check passenger doors are operational and free of dents. Move on to the rear right tire. Next, the rear of the vehicle. Tail and signal lights. Buggy whip, both flag and light, operational. Check out the hitch, bumper, and tailgate. Look under the vehicle once more for leaks and any damage. Now make sure the fire extinguisher is secure and charged. Then unplug battery and block heaters. Then complete the walk around by checking the fuel cap, doors, and the last tire. Now it's time to check the inside of the vehicle. First, the seat belts. Turn the key to preheat the glow plugs, and when the light goes out, start the engine. The engine must be running to check gauges, fuel level, heater, and wipers. Then the interior and panel lights. Check the communication radio and test that it's sending and receiving okay. Check the brakes and the backup alarm. Now for cleanliness. Check the all-around glass condition. Windows should be free of all dirt, mud, ice, and snow. And inside, there should be no loose articles or unnecessary clutter. Don't forget first aid and survival kits. Finally, check the service card to make sure that servicing is up to date and when it's next due.
That's everything, except for brake testing. And there is no more important safety item on a vehicle than its brakes. That's why the driver must test them. Here's the procedure.
Start the engine. Apply the service brake with your left foot. Put the transmission in drive. With your right foot, gently depress the gas pedal so the tachometer reaches 2,000 revs briefly. The vehicle must not move. Now put the vehicle in reverse. Listen for the backup alarm. Again, the vehicle must not move.
This only takes a few seconds to perform, and it should be done each day. Now, if your brakes don't respond properly, don't operate the vehicle. Report the problem to your supervisor.
There is one other time you should test the service brakes. After driving through deep snow or water, make sure the brakes will hold the vehicle at a standstill. To dry out wet brakes, apply light pressure to the brake pedal while driving at a slow speed.
Seldom do we check the park brake. It's winter for much of the year up here, and park brakes tend to freeze up.
For that reason, all vehicles must be chalked when in park.
Now all that remains is the paperwork.
As the driver, it's your responsibility to see that the vehicle is taken to the maintenance shop when servicing is scheduled. Check the service card to see when servicing is next due, and when the time comes, inform your supervisor. With your inspection complete, fill out the card and sign it. Now the vehicle is ready to go. That's the procedure every day for every vehicle on site.
And remember, if you find a problem with any part of the vehicle, report it.
Safe driving demands the full attention of the driver at all times. It is sometimes difficult to shut out all distracting thoughts when in the driver's seat, but if we don't, the result could be an accident.
Driving is a very demanding skill, and you need to keep your mind on the road at all times.
Defensive driving is the key to safe driving. At Divic, that's the most important skill you must have while operating a vehicle on site. Let's look at defensive driving in action. Always reduce your speed when in bad road or bad weather conditions. Drive defensively at all times. Expect the unexpected. Hazards can appear from anywhere without warning, so always be ready. Drive at a safe distance behind other vehicles. In poor driving conditions, allow even more distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Keep both hands on the steering wheel and turn on your turn signals well in advance. Also, avoid sudden braking or speeding up. Not only does this lose some control of the vehicle, but also it may catch other road users by surprise. Never give others any cause for alarm. Be alert. Keep your eyes on the move so you don't develop a fixed stare. Get into the habit of checking for all movement all around you, especially in any blind spot. Listen to your communications radio for information that could alert you to site changes and instructions. If you're overly tired or feeling ill, notify your supervisor to get relief or take a break. A tired driver is an unsafe driver. Don't take medicine that makes you drowsy. If you have to take medicine, report it to your supervisor. If you get held up and have to wait, be patient and remain calm. Never lose your temper. Impatience clouds your judgment, and it's a major cause of accidents. Keep to the right side of the road. Of course, all signs on site must be obeyed. If you see any signs that have been knocked over or damaged, take the time to fix the problem, or at least notify your supervisor.
It goes without saying that seatbelts are mandatory for all passengers and the driver. And it's the driver's responsibility to make sure that everybody has their seatbelt on before the vehicle is put into gear.
Seatbelts prevent you from being thrown around or out of the vehicle in the event of sudden stops, collisions, or rollovers. Plus, they keep the driver seated and in control of the vehicle.
So are you a good driver? Only if you drive defensively all the time.